Hello, everyone. Welcome to the World Series of Board Gaming YouTube channel. My name is Chris George.
And I'm Brian Muller.
And today we have a very special episode for you. This is something that I'm personally excited to watch because I wasn't there. Brian, you were recently at Prezcon and you sat down with three of our ring winners. Is that correct? To talk about, what did you talk about? Well, I guess we'll find out, but give us the pitch.
Well, we had a lot of fun. It was pretty neat to be at a very family style con that Prezcon is. It's competitive, but it's very family oriented. And we had gotten a message that three of the ring winners were going to pop on in and see what it's about. And I got a chance to talk to those three guys, and they are just a lot of fun. I think anybody who watches this is really just going to enjoy how friendly these three guys are, and it's pretty neat.
That's true. I mean, all of our winners, all of the ring winners and everybody who participated in the event last year, I found were such genuine, awesome, nice people. It was just, we got such a great community here as board gamers, even at this sort of competitive level of people trying to do their best and working hard. So why don't we just cut right over to the interview? I'm excited to see it, and take it away past Brian and bring us to our guests.
Welcome to the World Series of Board Gaming channel today, catching up with Chris and Brian. Today, Chris George isn't here, but I have three wonderful guests with me, Brian Muller. And my guests are...
Jeff Harden.
Luca Laria.
Cliff Flash.
So these guys, you may know them. They're all ring winners and wonderful people from the World Series of Board Gaming from 2022. And we're here at Prezcon. So what's some of the games you guys have gotten to play here at Prezcon so far, and how have you done?
Well, Brass Birmingham, obviously my favorite game. Luca and I both love that game.
Yes.
What else? We all played Lords of Waterdeep. We were in a semifinal
All
together.
three of us yesterday.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So who won that?
None of us.
Well, Cliff got second.
I qualified for the final, but the one guy that wasn't us won. So that was not
That
so
guy's living it up real big. We played. You played your Azul.
Yes, Azul, I went to the semifinal, yes.
I lost in Wingspan, so that was good. That was a good time. Yeah.
Gaia Project final I did. Splendor I won.
Should I speak about the elephant in the room?
He's got a plaque.
I won a
He's
plaque
got
in
a plaque.
Endeavor, so
He had a
Well
plaque.
done, well done.
on Tuesday night, and then from then on, it's been pretty dry. Yeah, it's been a tough week.
So for some of you guys that haven't been to Prezcon is a bit of a family type convention. It's a lot more low key. They're a little bit more informal with the rules or what expansions you play during the game. A lot more so than WSBG, which is pretty strict. But there still are a lot of good competitive players. Have you run into some pretty good players here?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ryan, you know firsthand. You were at the table with me in the Great Western Trail. And
That's right.
Tell him about your 50 cows, Jeff.
I had a lot of cows.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
the cow story.
The cow story.
It never ends, the cow story.
I don't know what to tell you. I like
we
cows.
had fun at that game.
We had a good time.
Yes, I did. I played rather poorly. I was the guy getting taxed all the time in that game.
You were, yeah.
Yes, I didn't follow. Nick Henning has a nice video on how to play, which I watched and then completely ignored and went about the game my own way and paid
I
for it.
saw his video, yes. It's really,
Nick's too good a game to even show up to this one this year, huh?
Yeah.
2 rings, Nick, and you couldn't come grace us with your
But
presence.
he knew that we were coming, so, you know.
Oh, he's afraid.
He's afraid.
He's
Yeah,
afraid.
obviously he's afraid.
I would be afraid you'd steal his ring too.
So this is a bit of a ways for you guys, actually, right? Some of you guys are way out on the West Coast, right, Jeff? You're way on the West Coast.
It was a long journey out
And
here.
you guys are just about on the West Coast, right?
Yeah,
So,
Montana.
Bozeman, Montana.
so had you decide to come? We get a lot of people from Florida here. We got a lot of East Coast, or a lot of WBC players come out to Prezcon. But what got you guys into deciding to come out to Prezcon?
For my wife.
Okay.
After I won and I got in the final of WSBG, she started to look at all the convention in the United States, sent me a pretty big list, and then with Cliff we decided which one to try to go and
Awesome.
see.
That's
So
cool.
Prezcon was one of them. So
I dragged him to the World Series, and then he dragged me here.
That's a fair deal. That's a fair deal.
We actually, it's fun. A similar story. We made a spreadsheet because I was looking at some other. I heard about Tantrum Con,
Yes,
and they
I
have
heard
a
about that
table
too,
flipping
yeah.
competition. Which, if I'm good at anything, it's flipping tables.
Oh yeah.
And but that was this weekend, and then but they didn't really have a tournament scene, and it didn't seem as structured. And I like a good,
yeah, it's good structure.
So, but I was looking at this one, and then I had to map it all out with when I could take work off, and so this just seemed like a good fit,
Well, and if you like any games, it's probably on this list.
Yeah, there's a lot
there's
of
a ton
games
of
out
games,
here.
No
I've never
bad
been to
choices.
Virginia, so that's cool.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
our first time in
You
Virginia.
can see Virginia from outside the window.
I've done a lot of sightseeing. You know, I made it to the Grand Ballroom, the Promenade downstairs. and-
Oreos.
Yeah, the restaurant. Yeah.
So how usually on this show, one of the things that we do is we talk about how things have changed for us since the last time we talked. So the last time I talked to you guys were up at WSBG, and I'm sure a lot has probably changed for you since then. Or maybe it hasn't.
Not too much.
No.
Do you get more street cred with your gaming group? How is the family?
No, our
gaming
gaming is still
group-
not believing us.
Well, no, our gaming group is unbelievably awesome. They helped us practice a ton. But with that, hand in hand, we come home with 2 rings and 2 big checks. The first day, so much friendliness and congratulations, and everybody's so nice and just awesome about it. And then the first Monday night where we get back to playing games and sitting down, they're like, yeah, so remember like 3 years ago when I beat you in Azul? I'm pretty much a champion myself too, I'd say. I'm pretty good at this. And you're just like, well, then you should come next year. You
Yes.
should come with us. And they're like, well, I don't need to. I already beat you. It's like, all right, I don't know if you have, like, we have rings, you know, come on.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
He just blinds people.
He just love to brag.
Yeah,
so
he throws
I
it
don't
in
know.
the
I don't.
face of
It's,
old
I wouldn't
ladies.
say I love to brag. It's
No.
just part of the. It's
You live
when
to
you're
brag.
this good, it just
It's
comes
part of the whole
naturally.
package.
It's part of the.
It's part of it.
Did anything change? So I don't have a big gaming group. I have like a gaming group, but I don't have. I've actually been having trouble looking for. I know.
Well, we
I was
play
going to say
online.
people on my level, but it's like I feel like the people at the local gaming store are not at the same level. You can find better competition online, but I like the experience of playing in person. So it's tricky because.
But online is very good because you
Yeah.
you have a little bit of time. You can go online.
But you
find
lose
everything.
something. You lose something over the.
Yes.
not playing
Online
in
is
person,
not like in
Live.
real life.
Live, yeah.
right.
The
Yeah,
computer helps
in
you-
real life.
Helps
yeah.
you with the point scoring and everything. Instead
And
of
the other
doing
thing
it-
is the turn based too. You know, I'm playing in like 10 turn based games online, but that doesn't help
No,
me prepare because if I have
No,
an
if you want
hour
to
to
prepare,
think
you
about
need
my
to-
move, then
Yes.
that's not the same as when it's
No, you
live.
need to do real time if you want to prepare. Yes.
So Yeah.
So move to Bozeman.
move to Bozeman. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
I've been trying to do the math on how I can quit my job, but see, I didn't get one of those big checks. Now I'm not sensitive about it, but I'm a little sensitive about it. I mean, you know,
I got the smallest one. But still,
yeah.
some.
10,000 is the difference between you quitting your job and that.
No,
You do.
no, I do. I have a good job.
So-
If anyone from my company watches this, they do treat
Yeah,
me well.
they-
So,
But Jeff,
he's a
you
company man.
you were able to. Your father came with you to Prezcon, so
Yeah.
so maybe that's something that's changed. Is that has your father been to cons before?
well, so he came to World Series with me. He didn't play. He's more on the casual gamer. You know, he plays all the same games with me, but he doesn't play them competitively. You know, he's just having fun. But no, he's gonna play next year. He's gonna play the World Series board games next year. He's playing. He's gonna take down. He's taking down Luca in Azul for me.
Okay.
So I'm sending out little assassins to
I
all the
would love
other
to
games.
see
to
him
beat.
try.
I haven't found a Gaia Project assassin yet. So
You don't need one. Nick's gonna play God Project this
Oh,
year
okay,
instead of Terraforming Mars with the.
No spoiler that the other players in WSBG will not come to Gaia
No one's
Project.
gonna play
Come
Gaia
on.
Project.
Yeah,
With Nick.
only you and me.
That's good though. I found out that the games that no one enters, they get knocked out in
Bottom
2024. So we
Bottom
can start, getting Gaia Project out. It's no Gaia 2024.
It'll be
I'm
there.
picking
No,
it.
no, we'll have enough. I
Yeah.
already believe.
So what do you guys think? Speaking of the games that have gotten knocked out, we've knocked out 4 games. Everyone knows that one of my favorites is down at Speeds in the Rain. So we're sad to see
could
that.
have
but
been,
it's
that
a
could have been a cool
Each
final.
game, so
Yeah,
not
so I'll have to talk with Nick about that too and see how
Oh
he
yeah,
feels about that.
Nick was the champ. I think The real tragedy behind Dominant Species Marine not being in is we're losing animals. You know, I really prefer the animal games.
We added
because
Cascadia though.
we do.
Yeah, we
There's
have
birds in Cascadia, so I'm almost a shoe-in to win Cascadia because birds are kind of my thing.
No, really.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just wing it. You
Okay,
know.
okay.
So.
Oh my God.
You got that one? I don't know. What else got knocked out? Blood Rage?
Blood
Blood
Rage,
Rage,
Catan,
Catan.
and Carcassonne.
Catan was
Okay, Carcassonne was there was controversy though. Year one of at the semifinal in Carcassonne.
There's a little bit of controversy.
I don't know what was happening. Luke and I were playing. We were sitting right next to each other.
It's pretty much the thing that always happens in Carcassonne is that at some point you discover that one of the meeples in the farmlands wasn't a legal play, and so there was a bit of that going on in how they were, the timing on when they called it and how they were going to settle it. But we pretty much stuck to the rules, and we talked about it with all three of the players, and then we were able to resolve it. But you can watch that on the video because we're really open about how that whole process happens with the rules.
Yeah, but it happens with Carcassonne.
Yeah.
The map gets bigger and bigger. Then
So it's probably good. Then we're now back to the question. It's probably good Carcassonne's gone because if people are constantly having rules issues, that's not great. You know?
yeah.
But more so, what do you think of the 4 new games that we're adding in? Especially that we're trying. One of the I'll refresh on those. So we're adding an Ark Nova, which is has a lot of mechanical similarities to Terraforming Mars.
Yes.
Cascadia, which is a nice light game. Castle and Burgundy, which is we finally get a Feld in there. And then I think one of the ones that's interesting, we wanted to get an Uwe Rosenberg, and I know this is on the other side of the scale from some of Uwe Rosenberg's games, but we wanted to get a try at how a 2-player game could work within our format with a double heat match. So, and that's Patchwork. So, what do you guys think about those 4 games?
Oh, we had a lot of discussion between me and Clay. 2-player game, it goes in the semifinal. What could happen?
Yes.
Maybe someone wins 2 rings. It's in Patchwork. They say, okay, I'm dropping Patchwork, so there are only 3 players. So,
That's
there was a lot of thinking, and
I think you guys do a lot of work that goes unseen in which games get picked and how they get picked and what you are choosing to put in. I think Ark Nova, you couldn't not add it. It's so huge right now. It's the Dune Imperium. It's just so popular. You had no choice. That one had to be added. And there'll probably be games like that almost every single year, and that's good. I love Castles of Burgundy, and it's another good classic. And I think we were surprised last year that Acquire had the turnout that it did for a kind of a classic game. And it kind of brings in a different crowd that's like, you know what, I remember playing that 20 years ago or however long ago, and so that's good. And then definitely if you want to try a 2-player game, there were a lot of players who played last year who were like, I didn't like being at a 4-player. I didn't know what that person was going to do, or I was worried that someone might king make against me or whatever.
Right.
And if those are your concerns, then a 2-player game solves all of that, right?
For sure.
You got a 50-50 shot too.
Yeah.
2-player game.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
it's you, it's 25-75
For the other person, yeah, that's true. I'm excited about Ark Nova because I love Terraforming Mars. Apparently, I'm not very good at Terraforming Mars because I haven't made it past the first round in the Terraforming Mars
But they're using
in a
all the
while.
expansion.
Don't start with these.
Okay.
But Ark Nova's got animals, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
But no,
I don't have cow.
I love Ark. They do not have cows. That's
They don't
true.
have
I
cows.
love Ark Nova though. I'm in the semis in Ark Nova here. We had
Good luck.
I had a good game with monkeys on Monday morning. I think it was. That was a long time ago. Monday was Friday now.
I hope we both win all the plaques we got left.
That'd be fun.
Because then I'll win more than you.
We
and
have
it'll be
to.
fine.
Yes. We have
well,
to.
that's not true, but number-wise.
So I do think one of the nice things, especially since we're adding Ark Nova, which, as you guys know, is a pretty heavy game to carry around.
Yes.
But this year, we've had a lot better connections with a lot of the publishers. We're getting a lot more donations of games coming in. So this year, we won't have to bring our games. It's fun.
I saw that. That's a big.
But the problem I've been playing a lot of unsleeved copies, and my Ark Nova at home, I've got all each of the players has their own action card sleeved with that color of sleeve. You got yellow sleeves, blue sleeves, red sleeves, so something to be said for playing with your own version. Plus, I've marked the cards, so
you can't play your own version of the World Series anyway.
That's true. No, That's a good point.
So with the new games, you guys probably had to do a bunch of new preparation to prepare.
Yes.
You guys prepared pretty heavily last year, I'm sure. Maybe
Someone
not so
did.
much.
You guys prep? You guys
Yeah,
prepped?
someone went to the final because
We
Oh.
started. We really did. We started practice. I learned them all in December of the year before because our buddy Jason, of course, he didn't go, but he was like, he's like October and November. He's like, hey, did you hear about this thing? There's going to be a World Series of board games. And he's at our game group, and we were like, well, that seems kind of interesting. How's that work, right? So we looked into it, we watched the video, and I was like, okay, there's like 4 I didn't know. Gaia Project was one of them.
You didn't know Gaia Project before you won Gaia Project?
Before the World Series, yeah, I didn't. I learned it the December before. That was my first game. Was like Christmas Eve. One of my friends have been trying to get me to play forever, and I was like, that just seems like a lot. I don't know if I want to play that game.
Yeah, that's what I said about it.
And so they let me play. I won my first game, which of course just makes you feel like I know how
I'm
to.
a bragger. Look at this guy over here.
Well, I think everyone.
I don't know why I'm
knows,
here
you
between
know.
the two of you, but it's
Just
okay,
throwing a
it's
game
okay.
down in front of Cliff is good.
Yeah, but
I mean, you're no Nick, but you're okay.
Nick beat me a bunch, and I beat him in the one that mattered. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You need to win the one that counts.
But then, so we prepped hard. I learned them in December, and then February I was playing at least one game, 5 days a week, and then by the summer we were playing like every day that we could. I was playing at least one online. Honestly, I thought my best probability to win would be Splendor. I thought, and I went pretty far. Well, I won a couple rounds, but lost a 3-player game. Splendor.
The Splendor that was Gray was the Splendor. He was a double ring winner. I don't know. I was watching a good bit of the finals, and they have good players in Splendor. There's a lot of good players there in Splendor at that table.
Funny story about Splendor. I've been playing Splendor, I've maybe 20, 30 games of Splendor. I don't know how to play Splendor. I'm not good at Splendor. Like yesterday, Luca comes up. He's like, and I told him I made the semi here at the Prezcon.
He qualified.
He goes, well, you know the
35.
strategy, right? And I was like, no, I kind of just wing it. I just go in there, pick some stuff, maybe try to get a noble. I'm just having fun, picking, He goes, no, that's not you're wrong. You're completely wrong.
You need to learn from the pro.
I know, and so apparently I've never, I don't know the Splendor strategy, but it's okay because later that day I told Luca, I taught him a thing or two about brass strategy, so we helped each other out.
Yeah, because I lost the
Brass
the
is
ring,
a tough
the brass
game.
ring,
It's a heavy game, Luca.
I know.
And Splendor was one of the biggest fields last year, right? Because I think it was 192. Because last year, Wednesday only had 2 possibles, right? You were 7 Wonders or you were Splendor. You only two things. And this year you got 4 on each of the 4 days. And so you're going to have to.
Wasn't it the second largest field?
Well, what was the first one, Jeff?
I think it was Wingspan.
Wingspan? He won the biggest.
Who won the wing? Who won
I
the
don't.
wing?
Hey,
Whoever
I
won
but I.
the tournament with the biggest field was probably just whoever was running luckiest that week.
Yeah, I
Whoa!
think,
No, well, let's roll the tape.
The
back.
jabs are flying today.
So for those, I don't know who's watching, how many
Wingspan is
millions
a top-
are watching this video, but so Clay, we sound like old friends here, but it's been a storied past to get to where we are because Luca and I started as arch nemesis, however you pluralize that word.
Okay,
But
whatever.
when the first time I really met Luca was at the semifinal when he took $1,000 out of my wallet.
Do you know how hard it is to get this guy to say they played well? Now, it's only because he beat you by 6 or 8 points or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was like, he played well.
I remember at the.
I hate to say it, but you played well.
I know you really.
Because I know that you will brag forever about that, but you
Well, at
played
the
well.
halfway point, so I was going on no sleep. Luca had got a good night's rest because he knew what he was doing.
8
I was
hours,
up till 4 in the morning learning brass, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, they told me, they said, don't worry about cotton, don't worry about pottery, just get some beer and boxes, and then find places to get points. I'm like, I can do that. Beer boxes, I'm ready to go. So we get to the halfway point. If you've played brass, there's a halfway point, and they do a scoring at halfway through the game. And at the halfway scoring, I think I was 3 points behind you.
Yes.
And I was like panicking because I was like, oh crap, I might actually like have a chance in this game. And then at about the moment I made that realization, I looked over at you, and I think you had a similar realization of like, maybe this game will actually be close, and it was close. It was close. And actually, Levi.
Levi was before me, so he started the cut.
Yeah,
so
he was right in the
to beer and manufacturer.
But he played well, and he had never played brass until that day as well. So it was good. It's a sign, but
he pushed a little bit too much with the other guy.
Oh yeah,
to put the beer for him.
But no, I think that's
a good game.
It's what I like is that in these kind of events you can go from, hey, really competitive, take a mandatory quest, that kind of thing.
That's not
right, but then an hour later you're joking around, and you're having a good time. So I don't hold any grudges.
Did you find the builder missing? From
I can't speak for everyone else, but I would say for me, with Prezcon, with WSBG, everything, all these board game tournaments that we played, the great thing about board gaming and the community is how friendly and awesome it is. Because I've played sports, I've played poker, I've played miniature tournaments, card game tournaments, I've played a lot of different stuff. And the board game community, just as a whole, if you take every single person, we had some cranky people at World Series, or we had some people here who were like, but overall, the friendliness and the camaraderie of the community is just so much friendlier at board gaming. I think if you play at your local store, you play with your good group of friends a lot, you understand what I'm saying. And it was amazing to get that at a tournament. We didn't know what we were going to get when we went to World Series last year. And it was unbelievable. We were fortunate enough to do well last year, and we'd win a game. And it wasn't people, you win by 6 points, and beat Nick by 1 point in Ticket to Ride semifinal, and he has to draw a ticket because he makes that good read. And it wasn't anybody being like, telling me for an hour about how, oh, well, if I had done this different, or if things had been different, things would be different.
Someone at the store will.
but they're so friendly. They congratulate you. They let you know, hey, that was a good move, or hey, and then they helped the night we stayed up. Nick and I stayed up for Ticket to Ride before our semifinal. You stayed up a ton too. We stayed up, and people helped us so much. They were like, look, we played in this tournament. We were at the final table. This is how you do well.
People came out of the woodworks. They're like, oh, you want to play brass till 4 in the morning? Let's go. And they were
really just so like strangers, right? Not like the group you brought. We brought, like I said, all the games. We brought 15 of the 16 games so that we could go up to them. I did, and we won. I won the Ticket to Ride, which is the first semifinal to finish, right? And so I come out, and there's a couple of people like, what are you going to ban? What are you going to do? And I was like, oh, I'm getting a little overwhelmed. And so I'm like, I'm going to go up to my room, and I'm going to take out the 5 or 8 or whatever possible games, because, I think Luke is going to win brass, so that's going to be eliminated. And I'm going to start looking at all the pieces. I'm going to start, trying to math out. It didn't work because I lost, but we brought the games.
You make a great point. Everyone at all these events are great. But when you're talking about, you should have done this, you didn't do that well. Now, that is what you get on the forums on Board Game Geek, because our final got posted, the brass game that we've been talking about got posted on Board Game Geek. And this guy writes a term paper about analyzing the game, right? And he's just using our colors to refer to us, right? And so I read this, and I don't get emotional over the internet because that's a bad policy to have. But it's 2 pages, and he's like, well, purple was a real bonehead here. Purple probably messed up here. And he goes, I had to stop watching after 30 minutes because purple had made so many errors. And I'm looking back at the video, and I'm like, hold on a second, I was purple. So then I'm starting to write my own term paper back to this guy. Listen here, fella.
Did you use fella?
No, I didn't. I had the restraint to use the delete key and take it back. Because you don't engage on the internet.
I do think the difference is when we train, we welcome that feedback, right? We have some good players that we're trusting, that we're playing with, and that we've asked to be there. They've sacrificed their time. And when they throw it up, or even when you're training the night before and you're practicing it, and I was like, so when I play Ticket to Ride, I want to have a stack of this many cards before I start laying rails, and it was like that, triple it. And so it's that kind of feedback's great. But then in a tournament setting, when you're playing and there's money on the line and there's these rings on the line, and people are just so Shadow. He was the second place in the Gaia. I don't think we got the Gaia video up yet, but
we did. I got to do that one.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm sure there's thousands of people out there wishing they could spend 5 hours watching us look at a Gaia board.
I'm gonna watch on
game's
flight
crazy.
home. That's my flight home.
I don't know if you guys have watched that one, but that game is really crazy. One of the red player just expands across the whole map with all the satellites very late in the game. He's at 0 for a good portion of the game and swings all the way around the table. And there's a lot of tension going back and forth. And Shadow's obviously
There's
a
good
really
play,
good player.
and he got two final tables. He had a really good World Series that might have been missed if you weren't there, right? Because he didn't actually win a ring, but just unbelievably friendly. Like we joked during the game. He had a close, I won by 9 points or whatever it was, and we're doing the final scoring, and he immediately congratulates me. There's no like sour grapes. There's none of that going on. He was like, I walked away to go to the bathroom. I came back. You had 40 points. I was like, yeah, I was nervous about everything until everybody else passed, but yeah, the camaraderie of the board game community, and I think for me, if anybody's watching this and you're excited about playing tournament games, I think that's awesome. And I think if we can keep that camaraderie within the community that board gaming kind of has, that really does feel unique, I'd be excited to keep that going. That'd be very cool.
Definitely.
It's exciting that all three of you guys get along so well here.
Some does. Some
We enjoy game. I like Jeff.
just because we are in interview.
Cliff asked for my number yesterday, so that's no.
Technically, it was 2 days ago, but then you made Dune go so long that it became yesterday.
Well, I couldn't put the game away. I think it's you make it, everyone's friendly. I didn't meet, but it is what you make it. Every game I walked into at the World Series, I won a lot of them, as evidenced by how lucky I am. But I walked into every table and I said, "Hey guys, let's have fun." That's the first thing I walk into a table and say. And I don't. It's not about winning. It is. I'm trying to win, but have fun. And there was.
The other thing, I'm sorry I dragged on this, but I'll add to it is we had a lot of people that had that same idea, but also that were very nervous. Right? They're not used to playing a tournament for money, or they're not used to not playing online if they're playing in a tournament setting. And so they sit down at the table and they know that game well, and they've told their friends, "Hey, I'm going to this tournament. I'm going to do this thing, and I'm good at it." But then now they've put all this pressure on themselves. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. The reason you got into gaming is because you enjoy playing games, right? The reason we all do it is because recreationally we enjoy playing the board game. That's where it all started. Don't forget or lose that. Don't at any point, even when we were training nonstop, I was just like, I could be doing anything else. I probably should be going to the gym, but I love playing board games, and that's what we're doing. Yeah. And, if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it. That's the whole point. That's why you do it. So don't kill yourself if you're looking at a World Series schedule and you're like, well, I like 3 of the 4 days, but, logic says I should play all 4 days, so I'm just going to play this game I hate. I'm going to tell you right now, just playing the open board game library. They have a great library from Dice Tower. They've got all the great great community, fun people outside.
Or go play craps.
Yeah, you're in
Vegas,
or
go play craps,
do whatever else
you want to do.
But if you enjoy gaming, don't just sign up for a game you hate. You're not going to win that anyway. You're not going to have fun. You're going to regret your 3 hours playing Terraforming Mars with Jeff. Or with anyone.
I'm gonna be honest, you'll regret anything you play with me.
Yeah.
No, now I like what you're saying. I agree with it wholeheartedly. Why did I play 6 hours of brass this weekend and plan to play 3 more hours of brass today?
Because you want to try.
Why? What am I doing to myself? Is this a pride?
You want to try to win.
I'm trying to redeem myself.
Yes, you want to redeem yourself.
I want to play Britannia so bad today, and I got Lords of Waterdeep final and Castles of Burgundy. So I'd have to give up on Dune. I'd have to give up to qualify for Dune.
Have you guys, as you're in Britannia, have you run into Louis Bolsford?
Yeah, I did. I told him that I loved his game. He has such a great balance to his game.
I think it's neat that we have some maybe less popular games here, but we have the game designers. People come down here. Bruce Glasgow comes here every year. He's done Marvel Remix and Fantasy Realms, which is a fairly popular game. There's a couple other guys that come down here too with some smaller war games and stuff, like Richard Nord and guys like that. So
can I? This feels like a safe space. So
Oh.
my girlfriend and I she's been real supportive, since the victory, and I actually made
Since the picture.
Well, no, I mean she's always been supportive. So now she's
Okay.
gonna watch this. And
Yeah.
so I guess I'm single now, but no, she's always been very supportive, but even more so since the victory. And well, two things. First, funny anecdote. One day we were talking about playing board games with her and I, right? And she tries to play board games. She's not as into it as I am, but she likes to because she knows I love it, and so she does that. But she's not really into it, so she doesn't win a lot. And she's competitive, so she kind of hates that she loses a lot, right? So I don't try to play the heavier games because the odds of her winning Great Western Trail against me one-on-one is, those odds of my dad winning Great Western Trail against me one-on-one,
Yeah.
which is,
And if
the
they
odds of, the Cubs winning the World Series.
Yeah.
Similar, it's low odds for those of you who don't get my metaphor. Where was I? Oh, and then so I said, so we were laying there, we were hanging out on the couch one day, and we were talking about playing games, and she's like, I don't like losing to you. And I was like, I wonder if that's what Aisha Curry says to Steph Curry when they play basketball together. And then she was like, wait a second, are you comparing yourself to Steph Curry right now? And I was like, well, we're both world champions, so. So I thought that was a good moment. It was basically
Yeah,
the
but
same.
you're not world champion. You're just
No,
honorary.
no, but that's true.
Because
I'm
someone else went to the final, so
Mhm.
just
Right.
Well, and Nick would have won the MVP, right?
Nick-
yeah, we don't want the
Nick defeated me. I almost had 2 rings.
Poor Splendor Dune guy, he was runner-up MVP.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
But no, that wasn't what I was getting. That was a funny story. But she's one of the things is I'm thinking about. So I was thinking we're talking about starting a YouTube channel and doing like YouTube strategy because I noticed there's a lot of great channels out there, Dice Tower and how it's played and all this, and there's a lot of like reviews and playthroughs and ratings and top 10 lists and card tier lists and whatnot. But there's very few actual strategy videos. Like
Yeah.
there's no one does a video on strategy on these games, So I
There's-
think it's a niche that we
There's
could
a
fill.
couple. I had to do a little work myself, so
Yeah.
So that if I don't know,
But there's a lot
I
less.
obviously
There's a
can't play
lot
the
less,
games at your
right?
level, so
Yeah.
I had to do a lot of bit of research to prepare for how to do the commentation. So
Yeah.
there's a very nice, at least I think there's a very competent player from I think he's from Pakistan or India. I don't remember.
For brass.
For brass.
Yes,
And
I-
his video really is.
Yeah. My
Good
full
education.
Yes, I thought
we're in a Discord
Discord,
together.
yeah.
I
I need to
hope
play
someday
with
we can
him.
get him to come out and play at the World Series board game.
But like,
I get totally what you're saying. I've had requests from people because I did do an interview about
Yeah,
just some quick Gaia strategy, and there's a lot more views than I even thought there were people who played Gaia. And then there were comments and stuff like, does this guy do training or do whatever?
Yeah.
But a lot of thing about these games is like your group is going to play a little different, or you're going to have their own things that they play. So somebody's strategy may or may not work in your community. That's certainly a thing. And it's not going to be perfect information, right? If I say, when I sit down and I play this faction in Gaia Project, this is what I'm going for. It'll work for some people. They'll kind of click like, oh, I see the game the same way. And for other people, it might not.
Yeah.
But I do agree, and I totally get what you're saying, because there is at least some niche where there's more people wanting to consume more content on this game that they've gotten into or are excited about, and they're like, God, I keep losing.
What I'm
Like
doing-
a lot of people
yeah.
want to beat their friends, right?
Yeah,
And
like-
Yeah.
We
I
have
think
that guy in our group who
Yeah.
wins this too much. What
How
is
do I
he
beat
doing different?
Yeah.
yeah, but I think that there's a lot of like for Great Western, right? There's 3 main strategies you can do, right? You can go in depth on which one. Like I was telling Brian in our game, I don't want to play Cowboys because building 4B's not out there. Now, no one else in the world, no one knows that unless they've played 50, 60 games, 100 games of Great Western Trail. I knew I shouldn't be playing Cowboys in the seat I was in, but I was 4th player, and I did, and I, built 50 worth of cows, got it in there one more time. But yeah, anyway, so YouTube channel coming soon.
I like him.
All right, guys.
Okay, I'll make a YouTube channel too.
Well,
okay?
maybe we make a group
Yeah, a
YouTube
group
channel,
channel, yeah.
and then we
I'm
each
so
do
bad
videos.
with
That'd be
tech.
fun.
I'll just
Well, no, my girlfriend will do the video editing. We'll just shoot the footage. Yeah, it'll be fun. All right, cool.
Okay.
you just gotta show me how to turn on my webcam.
I will help. Don't worry.
Well,
Let's wrap.
you can always call Chris George, and I know you guys want to get to a game. I want to get to a game too. I think like a game of Dune Imperium. Maybe I'll give it a crack.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
Do at that one since I bombed Great Western Trail pretty bad. We'll see if I can do well on Dune.
I don't think I've won a Dune Imperium since we.
Let's
we
not
lost
talk
the World
about. Let's
Series.
not talk about an Imperium. So.
Can't win that game anymore. It's cursed.
But guys, I thank you guys all for joining us today. And Chris, we missed you quite a bit, and I will catch up with you again, Chris, next time I see you.
I gotta fly. Because of birds.
No, wait, what?
No, really? Oh, I didn't.
Sorry. Hey, don't have a cow. Don't have a cow.
Don't have a cow.
You
Thanks,
have egg
guys.
on your face?
All right, that's
Mike.
good. That's good.
Good job. Well, what did you think, Chris? Was that a fun one?
It was a fun one. It was lovely getting to hear all those people talk and talk about everything that you talked about that I certainly have listened to. And we aren't filming this right after we just filmed the intro.
Well, we definitely missed you, but it was definitely fun to have those three guys there. And some of the people that are involved in World Series board game do come out to Prezcon because it is so family oriented. One of which is our CEO John Hagmart, who is just a big fan of Britannia, and we even have the game designer for Britannia comes out to Prezcon as well too. But it was really nice that Cliff Laxenhair did get to face John in Britannia and knock him off of his big run. So John's probably going to be pretty upset about seeing this when he comes in. But it's neat. It's neat that these people are all in the community, and even while we were there, we even talked about Nick Henning as well too, and how great of a gamer he is as well too. And it's just fun. I love this hobby.
Yeah. I love the hobby. I love the community that gets built. I love the little community that we're building here through the World Series of Board Gaming of people who want to take their shot and take their gaming up to that level. It's very exciting. Last year was such a blast, and I'm really looking forward to this year.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. And with that note, if you're interested, of course, you can still get tickets to the World Series of Board Gaming happening at the Horseshoe Casino from September 24th to the 28th. We'll be there. Brian and I will both be there. All of our ring winners will be there to defend their titles. And it's just going to be a friggin' blast. You've got the Dice Tower West Open Gaming Library there. We're getting a bunch of events planned for the outer ring for any guests who attend. We've got the Dice Throne National Championship happening in the event. It's just going to be bigger and better than last year, and it's only up from here. So get your tickets. Go get your tickets now. Go do it. Or, wait a week and then realize that, yes, it's the right thing to do, and go get your tickets.
Indeed.
We'll look forward to...
We enjoy people hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. But if you want to hang out with us more, come on out to Vegas.
That's true. So with that, we'll sign off. Thanks so much for watching, and look forward to seeing you with all of our winners in Vegas in September.